Alright, today we're going to be learning about the UCL, the deltoid, and the rotator cuffs. And we're going to be learning about how common injuries happen, one in sports as such as baseball, and another as in daily life. The first thing we're going to look at is your UCL. It's on the medial side of your elbow or the cuboidal region. It's innervated by your ulnar nerve, which will be important later on when we talk about inflammation. You got your deltoid, which is innervated mostly by your axillary nerve, which will also be important when we talk about innervation of the shoulder, and your rotator cuffs. One thing about your rotator cuffs, an easy study guide to this, is the SITS method. Supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres major, and teres minor. And you also got subscapularis in here as well. But the major that helps with rotation of the arm is in the SITS method. The deltoid, the actions of the deltoid is to the flexion of the arm, extension of the arm, and also abduction of the arm as well. And all these working together with the rotator cuffs will help in rotation of the arm. We'll start off here in the UCL. In common daily life, not many people tear the UCL. It's most common in baseball injuries. Pitchers are the most common for this. They usually come in this position right here, which puts a lot of stress on this UCL injury. The UCL ligament also will begin to tear. And when it starts to tear, we have to do something called Tommy John surgery, which we take out the ligament that is torn. And we take a ligament from either your leg or your forearm, and we replace it into this position. They drill holes in the humerus and the ulna, and they intertwine it in figure 8 style into the holes they've drilled. And it's not always easy to come back from this. It takes about a year to come back of rehabilitation, and everything that is broken that they fix is usually likely to tear again. But with rehabilitation, you can get back to the normal everyday life. Also, one way they can tear this is reaching back to get something maybe over heavy, and that will maybe tear your UCL, but it will tear your deltoid if you pick something up, deltoid or your rotator cuff. A common injury in your deltoid is if you have a backpack or a book and you're handing it to somebody, you may cause a tear in your deltoid, or if you hand it forward, it may tear on the anterior aspect, or if you try to lift something backwards, it'll tear in the posterior aspect. And also, if you get inflammation in either your elbow region or your deltoid region, it can cause swelling, which will put pressure on the axillary nerve and your ulnar nerve, which will cause severe pain shooting through your arm, cause tension along there and friction along your nerve. And then also on your back, if you try to reach back for something, maybe you're driving in your back seat and you try to pull a backpack or a book forward, you may tend to tear one of these muscles in your back. Now if you tear them, they may do surgery, but if it's inflammation on either your deltoid, your rotator cuff, or your UCL, the Ross method is the best method. Rest, ice, compression, and elevation. So I always urge the ice. It'll keep down inflammation and swelling of the muscles. It'll also cause relaxation on the nerve and not cause as much pain. Also in pitchers, they tend to overthrow, and when they overthrow, they'll cause the rip and tear of each of these regions. This will also cause to have rehabilitation extensively, and it will cause a lot of pain on the nerves in the back. On your rotator cuff, the axillary nerve also comes around through here, and your subscapularis nerve also comes through here. And so inflammation on either one of these nerves will cause great pain shooting through here, and could possibly shoot into your deltoid. That's my video in everyday life. Just make sure that when you're lifting things, be careful and modest on what you lift. And if you have any injuries, just be careful and watch and ice, elevate, and compress on that injury. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. Thank you.